and I was just double checking on whether that was actually his name. So he was saying that he's from the Czech Republic. So perhaps you could tell everybody what your proper name is first, because I don't want to try and kill it with my accent.
Yes, so my actual name is František.
František.
Yes, very well pronounced. By the way, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
inviting me on this podcast.
I'm just diving in straight away. Yeah.
As I mentioned to you, it's my first, so
Yeah.
it's exciting for me too. Yeah, it's pronounced František, and I found a lot of English speakers struggled with pronouncing that. It's hard to write. There's specific symbols in how it's written, so I went with Faana, which is like a short version we sometimes use in Czech as well. So that's why Faana.
Yeah, but you're in London, I think. Is that right?
That's right.
How long have you been in London?
For about 7 years now.
Oh, crikey. So London is home?
Yes, pretty much.
All right. Okay, go. Well, look, I have found you through Ren stuff. So what I tend to do is I ask how you found Ren. I did notice on your channel you have bigger hits in terms of, I saw there was Celine Dion and Dire Straits and different things in terms of the reaction channels. But I am particularly curious because it seems to be that you're a newbie in terms of Find of Ren. Is that right? Yeah. Go on, tell me more.
Oh, so I'm a complete newbie. I actually only listened to 3 songs of his. And I found him, you know, as a YouTuber and as a reactor, I do a bit of a research from time to time of what's out there and what people enjoy watching reactions to. Because I found there's like these very unexpected bubbles of audiences that you wouldn't really know that's there around specific artists. And oftentimes I don't even know that these artists exist. Like it happened to me with VoicePlay, which is an a cappella group I reacted to. And I discovered many artists like that. And Ren was one of them. I saw other reactors doing a lot of reactions to his stuff. And I saw those videos having success. I was like, let's give it a go. At first, I'll be honest with you, I thought, without even listening to him, from the vibe I was getting, I thought it's probably won't be exactly my cup of tea, but I'll try it anyways and see where it goes. And it turned out to be the exact opposite. I think he's like very close to how I like to engage with music and how what I like look for in music.
Okay, you can't stop there. Go on. Exactly. Somebody recommended, did they? Or did you just see in the other reaction channels? What prompted you? And you said, because it is so, I say the funny thing is with the reaction videos, and I've done a few myself now, is you don't know. Well, my experience was I really have no idea whether this is sad, whether this is fun. I mean, did you have any clues at all?
No.
That must have been such a shock. Yeah.
It was literally, I was doing research and I saw this name pop up many times amongst reactors. Sometimes they do one artist like pops up on one reactor's channel and nowhere else. So I'm like, I don't have much reason to, many reasons to actually go for that. But I saw Ren keep popping out, like this reactor reacted to him, and many of them did. So I like, let's give it a go. I literally like there was no requests for him specifically through the videos I posted prior to that.
Yeah. And how long did you have the channel beforehand?
Something happened now. I'm so sorry. I might have just touched something here, which
it flashed a couple of times on the screen, but you're still here. So oh no, now I can hear me.
Okay, I'm back. I think I apologize about this.
No problem. We're all I can hear you, and we're all learning. It's all fine.
The thing with the YouTube setup is that I have loads of cables that you can't see around here, and I think I just touched something and it disconnected for a bit, and it happens to me sometimes. So I'll move a bit this way so it doesn't happen again. And
that's fine.
Camera like this. So where were we?
Yeah, I was just saying that you'd had the channel beforehand. So how long did you had it before?
I've had the channel for a long time, but I started making videos more consistently since last January.
Okay. Was that like a New Year's resolution or something?
Of sorts. Yeah.
Of sorts.
I was like,
so
let's take it
anyway,
seriously.
let's take it seriously. Yeah. I'm going to keep on Ren for a moment, although I'm dying to go off in other directions with you. So you do the Ren video. You see how I think it was High Ren that was
Yep.
your first one, right? Okie dokie. And then the fans find you, but you've already had, as I say, you'd already had some big and high numbers with Dire Straits and different things because you are a musician, and there's pictures of you with your guitar, so it's very clearly the guitar that interests you. But did the Ren fans hit you? Because for me, the Ren fans kind of like a wall hit me. But
Yeah.
did you experience it like that, or was it completely different? Had you already got lots of people?
There was a wave. There's always a wave when you tap into one of those bubbles
Yeah,
of fans of an artist. And with Ren, it was this. It was similar. It happened to me a few times before,
yeah,
as you mentioned. But with Ren, it was a big wave of. They call themselves Renegade, right? Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
correct? So it was a wave of comments and welcome to the community, welcome to the family. It was very warm and welcoming, uh, all positive, like amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I noticed for me the the type of comment that I was receiving, it was as if they were allowing me to get to know them. There wasn't just a, oh, I'm glad you've watched this. It was like, and let me tell you how it impacted me, and let me, yeah. So it's a lot more than that.
yeah. There's definitely a sense of community, people sharing their experiences with how his art affected them and how it changed their lives. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna. There was a couple of points that I was gonna write down. You said about very expressive, and at the moment, I'm pretty obsessed with the word express and how you express yourself. So my ears picked up a little bit when you started saying
Hmm.
about how very expressive. In terms of your taste of music, are you what do you lean towards? Because as I say, this is not the pop formula type of thing. This is very much some self-expression of, I imagine as a musician, he's got no idea whether this is going to hit or miss when you make something like that. But I don't know. I'm not a musician.
So for me, I'm open to a lot of genres, and
Hmm.
my I was influenced by. I'll kind of go a little bit back just to
Yeah,
make the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
point, if you don't mind. My first introduction to music was through my dad, pretty much,
Hmm.
and he introduced me to a lot of bluegrass country music, a lot of American stuff. He he was during the time of CDs, even cassettes and mini discs. He was collecting those,
Okay.
not knowing that the streaming age is
Yeah.
about to come. And we have loads of 70s music, loads of 80s music. I remember Deep Purple, like so I was introduced to a lot of different stuff. That's my point. Like
Yeah.
it's not like I'm into pop, I'm into uh,
Hmm.
jazz, soul, whatever, hip hop, rap. I was introduced to a lot of different kind of stuff. And then I started playing guitar. Started on like kind of heavier hard rock, even a bit of heavy metal. I had a period of Dream Theater, learning the guitars, crazy guitar solos, and things like that. And then I totally pivoted into jazz. And during that time, I also started singing in a cappella groups and in choirs. So there was like there's a lot of breadth in my like how I see music.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
um, uh, so I always like artists. I love artists that can combine multiple things together. So with
Okay.
Ren, I know your audience is also mainly interested in Ren. So let's keep like coming
Yeah.
back to him. It's because it's beautiful how he does it. He's able to um, put like there's definitely music passion. Someone also commented that he like studied music and stuff. I can tell that there's
Hmm.
sophistication behind what he's doing,
Hmm.
but he also adds the rap element, which is
Hmm.
I live in London, so I know that like the South London scene, like Tom Mish and these people. Like I've played with a lot of rappers and singers around here as well. So it's very I know the scene a little bit, the R and
Hmm.
B hip hop scene here. So I can feel it from him, and he's able to pick up from different genres, a little bit of soul, a little bit of bluesy guitar here and there, then the rap, good groove behind it. And when this happens with any artists, I absolutely love that. I'm obsessed. Another example from some of my reactions would be Nightwish, for example. They
Yes,
are
I saw you.
big amongst
Yeah.
reactors, and they also managed to do the similar thing in a very different way, right? They combine the also different types of music, different genres. So that's what I tend to love about music, when you manage to like put it all into pot, all different influences, different cultures, different maybe even world music influences, a little bit of the traditional and folk music. You put it in there, and you create something new that's exciting. And when people can put it together in a way that's actually good, that's amazing. That's what I admire about music.
It's a bonus. But I think for me, I'm not a musician, and I was outside of the world. In fact, the reason I started on this is that I admitted to people that I went down the rabbit hole of watching reaction videos. So if anything, what I'm attracted to is the reaction videos and how people articulate how they felt about it afterwards. That's the bit that is really interesting to me. But there's something about watching, now I've been introduced to these artists, there's something about the courage and the bravery of, I'm going to try something, I'm going to do something new. And I suppose that just connects more to me, in that that's what I see when I see them. I don't really understand and know music so well to know what their talents are and different things, but I do see courage.
That's
If
a
that
really
makes sense.
interesting perspective for me as well, as a musician, because I your perspective as someone who enjoys reaction videos is really valuable for me as a reaction creator, right? And
Yeah.
interesting and exciting, because I'll be honest with you, I wasn't into reaction videos, and I'm still not. Like I don't
Yeah.
watch them really for my own enjoyment. I watched a few in the past before I started doing it, making any,
Yeah.
but at first I was like, what's this weird format of people reacting to music? And I through people like you, I started to get that a little bit better. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, I know when one of the first videos I did, and I was saying I really like these videos, and I was trying to analyze why. Now, part of it is seeing the emotional reactions as you watch the song, but also a lot of the reactors also have some sort of comments and commentary as well. So, if people were watching, what do you lean on, or do you do both, or?
Yeah, it's been a tricky one for me to try and figure out in a way,
Yeah.
because I just sorry to stop. I'm just watching myself on the screen, and I see
Yeah.
that my sound is not showing up on the screen. Is it
It is on
working on
mine.
your end? Okay,
Yes,
good.
it is
Okay,
on
good.
mine.
So I was
Yeah.
just hopefully the audio is recording. But anyways, uh, yeah. So I'm still learning about this and
Yeah.
learning how to balance the two, because I
Yeah.
do want to provide some additional some educational value as
Yeah.
well. But I also know that people don't like to the reaction to be interrupted too much. So I'm trying to find the balance. In some videos, when the song is like 3 to 5 minutes, I
Yeah.
usually do two run throughs. I do like one pure reaction.
Yeah.
I don't stop it, and then I go back and play it again, and then just stop it and comment on things and
Yeah.
show
It's
things on my
tricky.
guitar and stuff like that. But if they send me, if someone requests like a 10-12 minute song, I feel like it gets a bit too long. I don't know, you can tell me, maybe not, but
Yeah.
then I usually do just one run through and stop like at 2 to 3 different places and give my comments as
Yeah,
I
I
go.
think for me, it's just that I fell down the rabbit hole of, particularly, I fell down the rabbit hole about High Ren, because I wanted to know. I was trying to articulate, what did I see and what did I feel. There was something there, and a lot of the reactors were commenting on different things. Now, obviously, I was watching their faces for what happened at certain moments. I think there was one moment. Let me just think. I made a note here. Uh, Oh, when he was doing In the Voice, and I think the line is, "Where's your top 10 hit?" and "Where's your interview with Oprah?" And although people talk about this song as being a psychosis and sort of good and bad, part of me when I was watching your face was like, "Oh, he knows that voice." Like, but because you went, "Ah, where's your top 10 hit?" Like,
Mm.
and a part of me wonders whether this is I don't know if you've ever read Stephen Pressfield with The War of Art, and he talks about resistance.
Yeah.
And as a creator, are you aware of this? And I was thinking, part of me feels like, do we need to medicalize it? I know for him in his situation, but all of us have these voices inside of us. So I was watching that and I was wondering whether you would articulate it as about your own inner voice. That's kind of what I was interested in.
Do you mean how I was relating to the lyrics?
Yeah,
The lyrics
but
he was
also,
singing?
whether that particularly connected to you, because when I was watching your emotions, you kind of rocked back a little bit when they came to that line, and I thought, oh, is that something he's been saying to himself, or a negative voice in him says, okay, if you were a success, then where's your hits? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is a vast topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I'm so interested in. We could talk about music, but that's your area of expertise. For me, it's about self-expression and that inner dialogue and what we keep private and what we share and how we let people get to know us. But you go whichever direction you want to go.
Okay, I'll just go along with whatever comes up. Okay. I so first of all, I wanted to touch on something you said a while back. You mentioned the courage that you
Yeah.
saw in him, and I really like that. I just yesterday I recorded a video which I'm going to post over the next couple of weeks about mindset of a professional performer, and
Mhm.
I mentioned that there's like certain vulnerability that needs to come
Mhm.
with performing. Like it's necessary for the performer become in some sense vulnerable to invite the people in his space and to
Mhm.
allow them to also be transformed with it somehow. So that's one thing I want to touch upon. It resonated with me.
Yeah.
And I mean, this music career thing, like where's your Grammys, where's your
Yeah.
hits, where's your Oprah interview?
Yeah.
This is such a huge topic that I've been struggling with throughout my whole life because
Mhm.
my music was always my huge passion, and I never, well, apart from my dad who could understand the music side of things, I never felt like encouraged or supported by my family because it was all about pragmatic, practical decisions about the career and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I almost felt like for them, unless I could like show them my paycheck and that I can make a decent living through
Mhm.
music, and it wasn't taken very seriously.
Mhm.
Or maybe I just took it that way, but it was at times hard um, to try to really stand my ground. And
Mhm.
I know it's a big cliche to follow the passion.
Mhm.
And I'm actually reading a book by Cole Newport now that's about how you should not follow your passion and you
Yeah.
should follow
Yeah.
you should focus on your craft. So it's quite,
Passion comes later. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what. Yeah, that's what he says. But
yeah.
sorry, I'm interrupting you. Are you okay? Because I get excited and I interrupt
Please,
people.
please, please.
Sorry.
I was just about to run out of ideas, so I'm glad that you jumped in.
Well, I heard this really interesting idea, and they were saying about if you have different voices in your head. So if you've got one voice saying, yes, this is what I want to do, even if you've got quite a small voice, even if it's quite a small, less than half of you saying, no, crazy idea, all you need is one other person to say, not such a good idea, and effectively you're outnumbered. Does that make sense? Because you're not completely in integrity of 100% of you saying, this is what I want to do and I know it's going to work.
Yeah.
Even if it's small, and then it's like, and I thought that's how it feels sometimes to me. It
Mm,
feels like very quickly I'm outnumbered, and I don't have a crystal ball to know whether it's going to work
yeah.
or not, you know.
No, that's profound. I like that a lot. Like you fragmented inside, and you have a piece of you wants to pulls in certain direction,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
someone else just dismisses it or tells, "Oh, that's not a good
yeah.
idea."
But as I say, because I think
And the worst
people,
thing is that they don't even think about it deeply, or
no,
they don't have the same level of insight that you do,
no,
because arguably you probably thought about it for hours and hours before
yeah.
you took a courage and mentioned it to someone, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
and also when one of the things that I've noticed when I've been watching, and I've commented a couple of times, is the artist has the vision of what they want to create, particularly music or a project that
Yeah.
you have, and even if you describe it fantastically well, that other person doesn't know it.
Yeah.
It's everything is the execution of that
Yeah.
project, and you can explain it, and they're not going to get it completely. And I think we forget that when we're making stuff. I've written books and I draw cartoons, and I tend to focus on the wordy side of things. But and sometimes I think if I use the right words and I say the right thing, then they'll understand me perfectly. And I'm completely delusional. I don't know why. I still feel like, oh, if I explain myself well, they'll know and they'll get it. And it's like, no, you've got to make the thing,
Yeah.
and then they'll know.
What books have you written? I'm
I
curious.
write about speaking and communication and different things like that. So I'm a bit nerdy like that. As I say, particularly this idea of self-expression, as opposed to communication, where communication is more functional of, does the person understand me? Where self-expression is, I need to say something. I need to express something. So I'm really interested in that idea at the moment. And finding your people. Does that make sense?
What do you mean
I'm
finding your
checking, do you
people?
understand? I'm like, oh, honestly, I've been obsessed with misunderstandings for 20 years now, feeling misunderstood and that I misunderstand others. And I'm like, what's the magic ingredient
Right.
that they will understand my intentions? And oh, I need some therapy. Sorry.
No, I love it. I absolutely
You
love
didn't
it.
sign up for this therapy, did you?
I
But
love it.
I saw you mention Gabor Mate, and I thought, oh, I think he's interested in some of the people that I'm aware of too. So that's why I'm going off on track a bit.
It's really hard to get across our perspectives in just one
Yeah,
conversation like this.
yeah,
But I think maybe I don't know. I have a sense that there's probably more common ground than we might
yes,
realize right now. It's
yeah.
I just drop a few names and see if you know any of those. So I've been obsessed with John Vervaeke. He's a cognitive psychologist from
Okay,
Toronto, University of Toronto. He has a profound series, "Awakening from the Meaning Crisis,"
okay,
describing the current state of like meaning crisis, and it's very profound. It's
okay.
50 lecture series, and he written books about it and things like that. So
Yeah,
that's one, and with communication. Um, he presents something that he calls dialectic into dialogos, where he speaks about like kind of emergent sort of dialogue thing,
okay.
where the dialogue happens in the relationship between the
Yes,
two people,
yeah,
rather than, you talked about the self-expression. One wants to express something, and it always happens between, and it's no one's no one owns it. In a sense, it's like he calls it the we space.
yeah,
That he attempts to create in those dialogues, or attempts to make happen in some way. It's hard to
yeah.
talk about this. So that's one just thing I thought about. I'm obsessed with Daniel Schmachtenberger, who's like who thinks more about the meta crisis of like mm, more about environmental issues, or he talks about it as a kind of poly thing. There's many crises in together, and we need to think of them as a one thing together.
Okay,
So he's another person. Gabor Mate I love as well, and
yeah.
his work on the trauma is really profound. Who do you follow?
I was just well,
Read.
I don't know. I'm bouncing around all over the place. Um, I have mentioned the name Jordan Peterson
All right,
to different
yeah,
people. Now,
he's
some
friend
people,
with this John Vervaeke, by the way.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
close
Well,
friend with
the
him.
meaning, he talks about meaning. The thing is, he also talks about a lot of things that some people don't like, and
Of
uh,
course, yeah.
I have found him incredibly valuable in the way he articulates some ideas. That actually he's given language to things that I felt confused about. So I
Hmm.
have found him very valuable, but I'm aware that he's controversial, shall we say. Um, so yes, I do listen to him. I'm just trying to think who I've listened to recently. I can't think of who I've been I like Stephen Pressfield when he talks about
Hmm.
resistance and different things. I've also followed somebody called Austin Kleon. Have you heard of him? He talks
Yes,
about art and share your work. So
I've read a book from him as well.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a lot. I think this is what I'm interested in now is that I
Mm,
tend towards introspection of I'll stay, I'll think about this, I'll just think about this a little bit more, and then I'll be super clear. But actually, there is a feedback loop that needs to happen of sharing work, and you don't want to be. I don't want to be reliant on the feedback element as in I'm only going to create things that people say they like. So it's a
yeah,
tricky one. So that's what I'm kind of wrestling with a little bit. It sounds like you're absorbing.
yeah,
Yeah. Because one of the things I was just going to say, relating it to the reaction channel side of things, the people that I've been chatting to, it's been really interesting to me that they're doing these reaction videos, and I was trying to explain it to myself because obviously that is a creation, but it's more of a I'm consuming and I'm opening myself up to the world and then learning. And then something else is being created later. Now, some of the reaction channels share what they create, their own music, but a lot don't. Where I saw on your channel, you have, I watched Stop Running. I know
mm,
that was a little while ago, but you are creating. And it's interesting as a channel because a lot of the advice on YouTube is stick to one thing. And yet there's so many connections, isn't there? It's like, oh no, I'm consuming, I'm opening up, and then I'm making something with that. Help me out. I feel like I've bamboozled you with me talking.
no, that's good. I like. I'm I'm co- I'm comfortable with silence on the calls like this because I do coaching as well, and sometimes it's
Okay.
just about letting the space
Yeah.
to see what comes out.
Yeah.
This thing about of sticking to one thing that's been super difficult for me to get down. And I'm wrestling it with it a lot. So yeah, the advice is generally stick to one thing, blah blah blah. Simplicity is the key. And I've always felt like I have so many things that I would like to like put into it, and maybe that brings me back to what I said before, like when people can in a good way combine different genres in one pot
Yeah.
and make it a new
Mhm.
music. That's what I admire about them. And so for me it was I've always written songs. I performed as like in cover bands and all sorts of stuff like that, and I always played with bands, either my own band. I got signed to a label here in London, and this is the song you saw, "Stop
Okay.
Running," that we did. And so yeah, I definitely do create, and big part of what I do is also being an educator, and I almost see them as a kind of a triangle or like a cycle.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
it's
as you
yeah,
said, like you absorb something, and then there's some creative impulse
yeah.
that's in you that you need to get it out in other way. Uh, so that's what I try to do. But on a practical level, how to communicate it well, that's what I'm struggling with, and it's what I'm actually. It's one of my goals for this year to clarify my communication and what I want to
Mhm.
share, what I want to offer as my, let's
Mhm.
say, coaching program or things like that, and connect it to the whole, the channel,
Mhm.
create sort of a environment that will make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it when because I watched the High Ren reaction, and obviously I have a certain impression of you from watching that, and
Mm,
then I saw Stop Running, and I saw somebody playing and enjoying the music, and I just thought, "Oh, how lovely that I've seen that creator side of you."
mm,
For me, it's all interconnected, but then again, I see everything being interconnected, but I do struggle because I'm wondering how do I communicate to other people that they're on this path too as a creator and an open person, that they may not see themselves as a creator, but actually by consuming it's all part of that personality trait of being open and I don't know. I'm talking nonsense. There you go.
no, it makes sense. It's also what you choose to create in, because for to create something you need specific skill, right? You need to
Yeah.
be a craftsman in that sense. And for me it's been music, so I choose to do that. And education, arguably as well, because I've been teaching for also like 15 years now.
Okay.
Also in all sorts of setups. So yeah, how to bring it back to Ren now?
We don't have to bring it back to Ren. As I say, I happen to find some new followers. I'm a very small channel. I happen to find some new followers, and they were talking about Ren. But what interested me was it was almost like saying we like Ren was a shorthand for, oh, we like creativity, we like experimenting with the different genres, we believe in the idea that this rising tide lifts all ships, that him do, like, he encourages the reactions, and it's fine. It's not like one wins, the other one loses. So it was almost like, okay, if you like Ren, then you kind of agree with all these other little things too. And that's the bit that I thought, because I don't know a lot of his music. And as I say, I don't know a lot about music. I feel like a guest in that world, and I'm having fun, but it's how they express all these things.
You just put in words something that I think every artist should hear and understand. It's so beautiful you highlighted how Ren, by just making his music, making his art, and being himself, can inspire people way beyond, of course, way beyond musicians. But as you said, like, the community he's been able to create and gather around him, the Renegade, they are, as you said, they probably share some values you talk about. I see that.
Yeah.
Because there's he's on a certain vibration, and it attracts for specific people. Is that what you mean?
I think he's also articulated certain value by sharing his story, particularly about illness and chronic illness. So you have a lot of people in the Renegades that have had difficulties like that, and that, and some of his frustrations that he's had from that. I just see that part of me feels like I say, like an observer, because I'm not a musician and different things, and I don't know his catalogue of work. So I feel a little outside. And so when I talk to other people about Ren, and and I do the reaction videos about the music, I struggle with how much more I should or could, I don't know, I should be doing that. Yet the people I like so much. I like the people that I speak to who are doing the reaction videos. I'm fascinated with what you get out of it. I'm fascinated with, as I say, the renegades that I've interacted with. And so I struggle. It's like, yes, I'd like to know more about Ren and the music. I still feel like a visitor. But these people are so, I feel like they're my people. So yeah.
There's some sense of belonging to the tribe.
Yeah, but kind of by accident, because of, as I say, because I was embarrassed to say that I was watching reaction videos. When I did that, I think I had 160 subscribers. Like, I was teeny tiny, and I said, I watch these reaction videos. I just watched them for a few hours. I'm embarrassed. And then the Renegades found me and went, me too, me too, me too. So I wasn't even doing reaction videos. And then they said, can you do some? And I was like, okay, I don't know much about music. but I knew that I was interested in self-expression. And I knew that I was interested in the courage element of, like, how long do you wait till you're ready? And sometimes you're not ready, and you've got to figure it out. So I was really interested in that side of things. But
yeah, and I think a lot of people might feel in the same way, even if they are like hardcore fans of Ren, and like. So you have a reaction channel aside of the podcast channel? Are they separate, or are
well,
they the same
no.
thing?
I mean, I'm doing what I've been doing. Oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Um, this year I'm in need of focus. That's what I'm in need of.
Okay.
Last year, what I did was I'd been diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I thought, make something, do something, stop thinking about it, because I'd been
Hmm.
thinking about stuff for a long time of what's possible when you're ill, what's possible. And I thought, Joanne, oh my goodness, shut up. Just just make something, share something. So I started doing daily videos, and
Yeah.
I said, I'm just going to make something. And then I wrote another book. I've got another one coming out.
Oh wow.
And so I'm literally just make something, do something. But it's coming to the point where I need to figure out some focus and, okay, what am I doing? But but yeah. So the fans have said to me, can you do a few reactions? And I thought, okay, that'd be fun to do, which it was. But no, I don't feel like I have an they like the interviews. Um, I feel like I talk about myself a lot, and they're okay. They're okay with that. I like the fact that it's more of a conversation. I want, as I say, I struggle. I think there's a voice in my head from being younger of stop talking about yourself so much. I don't know whether you know anything about um, neurospicy things. I'm just learning about autism and ADHD and how if I am that, we like to connect with people by talking about ourselves, but other people may think, "Oh, she's just
Hmm.
talking about herself." So I think I've had a lifetime of people saying, "Stop talking about yourself."
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm trying to connect with you. I'm trying to say, "Oh yeah, I have I'm interested in those things too." When I don't know your world, I don't know the music world and the teaching music.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's important role. You're bringing something different to a table. Like
Yeah,
you're connecting us, maybe reactors show with with the audience and showing like a different side of things, and that we are not just making crazy faces during our videos when we watch something for the first time, but we actually have like
yeah,
uh, something's going on as well. I just wanted to touch on, maybe that would be interesting to. I'm happy to talk about the mental side of things as well. Like I by no means I'm any expert in it, but I like my mom has bipolar disorder. Like throughout my whole life,
okay,
I've been dealing in, practically on day to day life with that. She even went to like what's it called, like psychiatry, like a home,
o
like a separate
okay, yeah.
psy-
She's had some sort of treatment or
yes,
something,
she's had a
yes.
treatment for like several months, so I would
Mhm,
be growing up without my mother for several months, and then we would
okay,
go and visit. It was kind of weird, and feel like it impacted me. And uh, yeah, so that seemed to be a big part of what Ren does, as I
yeah,
understand it, because he's had, I don't really know what exactly he's gone through, because I
mhm,
haven't really invested the time to
no,
researching it yet. But that sounds a big part of it, and I think connecting it to what I said about this guy John Vervaeke, who talks about this larger meaning crisis that we're
yes,
all going through, or mental health crisis,
mhm,
more suicides and people just looking for meaning.
mhm,
What's going on in their life? What's the meaning of it? And we can't really go back to fundamentalist religions. That's not an option anymore, because of tools of science we have now, and what to do with that. And so I'm interested in this as well, uh, how all this connects and how music can perhaps help.
mhm, yeah. When I was listening to the talk about meaning, I've I'm aware of the subject. I've read the Man's Search for Meaning and different things, but I felt like I needed to hear other people keep talking about it in their way. I felt like I didn't have enough light on the subject, and then different people talk about it in different ways. And I thought, oh, I need more of that, because I think Jordan Peterson talks about it as in a burden, and that you need to have some reason because life is hard. This is what he says. Life is hard. There needs to be a reason, meaning a burden that you take on that makes the hardness bearable.
Hmm.
But as I say, I feel like it's a subject that if I was going to be uh, teaching or talking about, that I need a lot more language to help me find my way through.
Yeah, from how John Vervaeke approaches it, he distinguishes between meaning of life and meaning in life, which is
Yeah.
interesting. He says meaning on life is some kind of metaphysical claim that you're kind of saying, or meaning of all of this is because of that, as you because of some external reason. But meaning in life is this connection that we all look for, like being connected to the to each other and to what we do here. So that's I found that interesting distinction because sometimes we can look for some reason, as you said, like why, but what we actually striving for is this connectivity, this aliveness in the moment,
Yeah.
which you can experience, like in meditation and things like that.
Yeah,
or just like anything, doing sport, playing a song, just being in the moment. And these moments are like where I feel like we describe as like really meaningful, but it's not because of anything external. It's because there's a connection to life somehow in that moment.
It's interesting that you're saying that, though, because in my mind, that's something that I was just looking at in terms of this self-expression, that there's something in you that needs to be expressed, whether it's, like you say, a movement or a dance or a sport or something, and for some reason that's important, and I'm not sure why it's so important if it's not a functional working towards a goal type of thing, but for some reason it seems to be important.
Yeah. I don't think you need the reason for like for life. I think that's the problem, that we try to think about things logically, and that you always need to follow from one point to another. But life itself, you can't have a reason for that ultimately, because then you would always refer, and why. That's the kids when they ask, why is the sky blue? Because of that, and why that, and why that. And then you have this philosophers call it this infinite regress problem, where you kind of keep going forever. And at some point you need to just say life is meaningful because it is intrinsically meaningful.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether it was because of being ill and feeling like I didn't feel like I was contributing. And something that I used to love is that learning all the time. I wasn't really learning and growing either. And so that meaning and what makes that life worthwhile, I suppose, was on my mind.
But I do agree with you that there's some kind of and I can't quite put a finger on it, but like some kind of a cycle, that there's the expression, and then the appreciation of what's there, and then thinking about it as well. So there's like different
Yeah.
and I think they kind of need to be in balance in some way. Like
Yeah.
if you only if you're, I don't know, there's monks who sit all day and meditate and things like that, but like it's kind of an extreme. But if you just sit all day and appreciate how light it is, but don't do anything, that's not very useful to anyone, even if you're like amazingly at peace. If you if you overwork yourself and you keep stressing, then you run out of energy. We can burn out and things like that. So I think there needs to be some balance between, as you said, expressing yourself, putting the work in, reflecting on it, and then also appreciating life for what's already there.
There's
How I look at it.
I don't know whether you know Julia Cameron. She talks about journaling, and she talks about taking yourself on an artist date. And she was saying, you need to do this weekly. You need to just go out and consume other people's art, like any different field. So it's a very, very popular idea, but yet something that I was thinking about. And that's why I was feeling that me creating something and writing is not so divorced from me consuming and being excited to do a reaction. But I'm not sure that I've communicated it as in, oh, for an audience, this is what I'm doing.
I'm not sure I understand now.
Yeah, I was just saying that I think in terms of the YouTube channel, I was feeling I hadn't connected those dots. very well. That I'm this is part of the process. This is all part of the creative process, that I'm consuming other people's work and getting excited about it.
So could you? I don't mean to steal your podcast and start interviewing you, but I'm really curious how to. Because I don't quite get it still. I think, like you said something about this date with an artist, like the
Yeah,
journaling
yeah.
thing, and then you're speaking about how the absorbing the art is
Mhm.
part of the creative process. Could you speak
Yeah.
more about that? Could you like elaborate a bit more? I'm really curious
I
how you
think,
connect them.
yeah, going back to what we said about when you do a YouTube channel and they say stick to one thing, you're a reaction channel.
Yeah,
And then you say, oh, well, I want to create. And I was saying, well, part of, if you go behind the scenes of the creation process, it is being fed and having all these new influences.
yeah, definitely.
So, but I don't think I've communicated that. And I see a lot of the reaction, the people that I've interviewed, they have, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect there too, in that they are making music or they are writing or they are doing something, and yet it's not yet fitted.
I sense that, and that's why I'm questioning you on it. I'm really interested because I think you have some insight that we like. That I don't about that. So you see this because I feel like I have it disconnected too. Because sometimes I listen to music just for fun, and then
Yeah.
I sort of separate the listening to music for the reaction video. It's slightly
Hmm.
different experience for me. Although I can still, and I have to sometimes remind myself, look, like you love listening to music. Don't make it a chore in your head when you're
Yeah.
listening to a reaction video because sometimes I tend to go into the mindset of how the audience is going to accept it. Uh, am I being natural? And then it becomes a bit of a chore
Hmm.
sometimes, and it's tricky to stay like to genuinely enjoying that. I
Yeah.
think I probably have some talent to be able to do that because
Hmm.
people like I get a lot of comments like I really like how you connect to music and how you
Hmm.
naturally react, but it's not as easy as it might seem to sound that like you just sit at your computer and you listen to your favorite stuff and you make videos from it. uh, it's a different experience, so I feel like I'm trying to also like connect it for myself
Yeah.
and I think it will also benefit the content if I manage to make the connection more pure and streamlined. Am I understanding you right?
Yeah. 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 I just,
Hmm.
I think there is a temptation for people to say, experts. I've got a bit of a downer on experts when it comes to YouTube experts, but I
Hmm.
think there's a temptation for them to say, you keep this in one place and then you attract your audience and then you build that particular audience, rather than rather than how I see the world as being a little bit more holistic, and then the
Hmm.
nuance, and then everything being
Hmm.
connected and relating. And I think sometimes when you're doing creating content, any content, there's a sense of, I need to get this done concisely and
Hmm.
precisely and express myself, and yet it's messier than that. It's like, oh no, I see lots of interconnections, and
Hmm.
yeah.
And a lot of the times people are more like well often like almost always people are way more complex than we can imagine, and then so sometimes I would question even things like putting Gabor Mate in the video or talking about these
Yes,
things.
that's what I mean. I see people stopping themselves when I watch it. I'm like, they were going to go somewhere, and I'm watching the video. I'm like, they're going to go somewhere, and then they pull back. I can see them doing that.
Yeah, and it's always amazes me when I just drop something like a little bit from my life,
Yeah,
and people like yourself like pick up on that specific
yeah,
moment because that was the moment of the vulnerability and
and
the
the connection.
authenticity. Yeah, because I went somewhere I wasn't sure if it's going to come across well, and then people connected to that moment.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That's beautiful.
I've the first person I interviewed was somebody called Jess from Film Finds, and she has a very small channel. And she was doing a reaction video, but she loves horror films. So I think there was something frightening going on in one of the videos, and she was laughing and enjoying it. And I was just like, but I loved it. And then I think she held back a little bit then, as if like, oh, is this the
Right.
wrong way to go? And I was like, no, you're kidding me. That's perfect. That you go off on a little bit of a tangent about how it connects to you and what it makes you think of.
I had a funny one recently. I showed the reaction. I actually didn't post it, and I probably won't because I did it as a Christmas one, like with a little costume, and so it's not relevant anymore. But it was. I listened to a song that was recommended to me, and I found myself not liking it.
Okay.
I was just really not enjoying that, and I was like, I can't post this. People don't want to see me like be disappointed for what I'm hearing, actually.
Yeah.
But maybe it would be the authentic thing to do,
Yeah. Well, I did a reaction to Baby Metal. Have you heard of
Yeah.
Baby Metal?
Oh yeah. I did as well. I actually love that though.
Well, you see, the thing is, I don't see myself as skilled like you in terms of the reaction. When I do a reaction video, I'm like a deer in highlights. I'm like headlights. I'm like, what is happening here? I don't process it fast enough to be expressive. I'm just like, and then I thought, do I share this? And at the end of it, I just said, I don't know what on earth I just saw. I think I see these combinations. I can see the choreography of the dance. I can see some things where I'm completely confused. I'm completely, and all the fans were saying, yeah, that's how I felt first time. And yet I was hesitating. I thought that's the wrong response. The response is, this is clever. I appreciate the music. And yet they all found it really funny that I was completely confused by what on earth I just, and they were saying it takes 4 songs. You have to watch 4 songs
Yeah.
before you start to get them. So
Hmm.
yeah, as I say, I think obviously there's a lot of people that would click on my videos and then go straight away. So I'm not hearing from them. But the few people that are staying are like, oh yeah. I felt the same way when I heard it the first time. No.
And that's okay, right? Like you don't want to, you can't attract or appeal to everyone, so it's
Hmm.
fine.
Yeah. I know that recently there's somebody who talks about marketing, and his name is Seth Godin, and
Yeah, I
he
know him.
he's just been doing this book about strategy. So I was saying I wanted some focus, and I like the way he articulates ideas, and I thought, and then I was watching one interview, then I was going to another place and watching another interview and another interview, and I thought, this is how people are when they're doing the reaction video. You're getting something slightly different from each of the videos that you're watching, and you're learning, but there's also, I'm going off on a tangent now. There's also it sometimes I don't really want to be in intense learning mode.
Hmm.
Sometimes I want to be a little bit soothed in terms of the nervous system. I want to
Hmm.
be relaxing, and it's okay to have a repetition of ideas, and then, oh yeah, that's new, and then repetition.
Yeah.
Whereas I think sometimes we worry too much about being new and completely different, when the people that are certainly are watching the reaction videos, they know what they're going for in terms of,
Hmm.
they've heard the song before, and
Yeah.
some of the points you're making are the same.
Yeah. It's important to realize the value of the reaction videos in a sense that you watch it with someone, sort of like it feels like there's some presence next to you.
Mhm.
You can share your favorite song with a friend, and
Yeah.
like in a sense. I'm actually currently learning about business and marketing
Mhm.
to, you know, for my own channel, to kind of try and package it all together better. And one of the things that they talk about, like you need to always provide value to the viewer and things like that,
Yeah.
and oftentimes it's meant in a way that like you need to tell them things, like you need to
Yeah.
give them some education, you need to tell them,
Mhm.
you need to give them information and things like that, give them insights. But with the reactions videos, I find that the value is a lot of times very implicit, very hidden, just from
Mhm.
that presence. um, and again, as you say, we don't have to like be tryhards and try to say too many things.
Mhm.
I'm also learning how to balance that.
Yeah. I've also been thinking lately, there seems to be a push towards, or away from having everything scripted in the YouTube. But I know that
Hmm.
the correct way to do a YouTube video is to
Right.
have things scripted. And yet, interestingly, the reaction videos push against that, don't they?
Oh yeah.
That you've got to think on your feet. And
Yeah. Yeah. As a part of this course, I'm just going through like how to script the videos properly and things like
yeah,
that, and I'm finding myself struggling with that. And also, it might be soon outdated advice, right? As you
I
say, that
think so.
changes.
Yeah. I see people giving the advice of moving away from scripts, and yet I know when I'm watching them, they're following a script.
Yeah.
It's just like
But there's,
people don't talk like that. Yeah.
I think there's a difference. I think there's, again, it's about finding your level of scripting. Like you can
Yes.
script every single word, and then
Yeah.
it's going to sound like a machine almost, right? Or unless you like really memorize it and you're a good actor or whatever.
It's a tough skill. Yeah.
Or you can script, you can make bullet points,
Yeah.
and I think that's good. Like to have a structure is good, because
Yeah.
I kind of tried both
Yeah.
on my in my videos. I don't know if you did as well. But like was reading the script entirely, I felt like it wasn't authentic. It was weird.
Yeah.
And when I went entirely off the cuff, I felt like I was going from tangent to tangent, and I wasn't clear enough. So I think some kind of level of structure is good, just
Yeah.
for the sake of you making sense, basically, and being clear.
Yeah.
But then speaking naturally, I think it's also what people now appreciate.
Yeah.
And you can see it on the popularity of podcasts like this one. Like people are, thanks to headphones, you can
Yeah.
like take with you everywhere. You can listen to 3-5 hour podcasts during doing chores or traveling. So yeah, it's quite amazing.
Yeah. But as I say, particularly in terms of reaction videos, as I say, when I've reacted to stuff, I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to watch something that's going to make me sad or happy. I really have no idea. So
And it's
quite
good
an
to
experiment.
embrace that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
embrace the unknown and just going with it. So even if I don't like the song, I probably should just be transparent about it.
I was worried about the fans though. But I did Nightwish too, and I didn't get it. And but I thought, okay, I'm going to share. But the thing is, I'm not a musician, so I'm not talking as somebody who has taste or skills. I'm just saying I don't get it, but I'm really here for the story and for you to tell me more. That's what I'm sharing.
Do you also have with the reaction videos this thing that like every single artist that you react to, the audience that gathers around them, for them it's like, he's the best in the world, the best ever, the one
It's
and only, the
interesting.
GOAT.
Yeah, but also there seems to be a generosity of wanting to support you for just opening the door to their favorite artist.
That's true.
But really, really interesting. And now I haven't. Now you've done Dire Straits and Celine Dion. Do they have fans that are like that? Because I kind of thought it was not mainstream fans, but do Dire Straits and
Dire Straits do.
they
Dire
do?
Straits have slightly different fan ways, I'd say. I think they are mostly people who grew up with Dire Straits music and
Hmm.
who are nostalgic about it. So
Hmm.
who like come back and, oh, I've attended this concert. I was there actually when I in my 20s, or when I was in my teenage years, and so this sort of people, like, it's slightly different from Ren, but also very warm, I'd say.
Yeah, you've got some massive numbers on those videos, but is it because you're talking more about the guitar and the music side of things, or?
So the biggest video that I got on, well, so the Celine Dion one is purely because of Olympics.
Okay.
So that was literally a trend that I jumped on,
Oh, okay.
and so but the second biggest, which is the Dire Straits on Sultans of Swing, it's people comment that they appreciated my level of like understanding the nuances in the music,
Okay.
and that they learned a lot from me pointing those out.
Okay.
So a lot of people were like, yeah, none other reactor like noticed what the drummer was doing there, for
Yeah.
example. And I picked up on it and highlighted it. So that's the comments I generally get. So I think my strength is in being able to bring those musical insights, because I have specific like deformation,
Yeah.
like specific lens on it that I like for someone like you, for example, who's not a musician by profession or expertise,
Yeah.
you just listen to music and let it impact you. But I immediately analyze everything
Okay.
and dissect, and I'll be able to tell you what harmonic functions, what chord they're using, and blah 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 blah. So I think people watch me for that. I'd say, like,
Yeah.
to get a little bit of, oh, I didn't think of it like this deeply. Maybe they feel a bit smarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. I think also it's a sense of you may feel something, but you've never actually stopped to give language to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's because that reminds me of this film or that thing or whatever it is. But I noticed in the High Ren, I don't know whether it was because it was a slightly longer. His video is slightly longer, but you didn't go into so much on the music
Hmm.
side of things. I think you were like, okay, wow, as in the whole project. But did you have your guitar with you? I can't remember for that.
I think I did, but you're right. In this particular one, and that was one of the, I think, more authentic moments in making reaction videos, because I only thought about it after I shot it. It
Okay,
didn't really occur to me to talk
yeah,
about the technical stuff, because it wasn't about it for me at all.
yeah,
For
yeah,
me, it was about the message, the whole, how intricate, the level of detail of the production,
yeah,
the fact that it was all shot in one take, and
yeah,
like the amount of effort that he put into like planning it all out,
yeah,
the precise the lyrics, the how he is clearly he sings it and raps, and the guitar playing is amazing in that
yeah,
song, paradoxically. But for me, as a guitar player who played all his life, it's like, yeah, all right, he's good, he's a good guitarist, but it's not like the main thing for me. It was like the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing, how it came together, and like,
yeah,
so in the moment I was just like amazed by that. And the guitar, yeah,
yeah.
was just like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I know what
It's there.
I think what Jess did was she'd already seen High Ren, so she didn't do a reaction on that, but she ended up doing a High Ren, what she called an analysis
Yep.
afterwards, because she's particularly interested in the film cinematography type of and
Ooh,
the
okay.
meaning about those kind of things. But she'd already seen the video by that point. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. It's not a reaction as such, but it is sometimes you have to have a little bit of time to process, and then there's other things that you think you could add. So yeah, I throw that out to you. Maybe
Hmm.
an analysis rather than a reaction
Right.
of, okay, I'm going to geek out on the music side and see whether people like it. I don't
Hmm,
know,
hmm, hmm.
but that's where anyway, sweetie. Sorry to call you sweetie. I don't know why I did that. I've gone over the hour, and I really wanted to talk to you. I haven't talked to you much about teaching, and you're about to start your own community of guitar. Is that right? Is it guitar or is it music more broadly?
It's music more broadly.
Yeah,
I'm still
this is exciting.
refining that, because, again, making it, uh, yeah, the guitar is my main instrument, but I want to empower people who are
Mhm.
hobby and enthusiast musicians to be more engaged in music actively as well,
Okay,
because I
that
think
sounds good.
a lot of people um can think that either they started too late, or that it's too late to start, don't have talent, and all sorts of limiting beliefs along those lines. And I think part of what we talked about earlier, that music is really beneficial if you like playing music. I mean, not
Yeah.
just listening, doing it actively.
Hmm.
It's like a really good exercise for your mental health. Like
Yeah.
it engages the body. I think there's
Yeah.
something about when you sing a note, it resonates within you. And when you play a note on the guitar, it's like you get in contact with your fingers that kind of touch the instrument,
Hmm.
and you're creating that sound. So there's like a self-expression,
Yeah.
which you like to talk about. There's a there's the sound, the resonance,
Yeah.
the beautiful element. And I think maybe my like small way of helping to address this mental health crisis is like to encourage more people to participate musically. And I want to create community and course to empower and people to be able to do that, even though they don't consider themselves as being proper musicians. I've heard that so many times from my students, like, oh, I'm not a proper musician, I just it's, I think it's much more possible now with the technology and internet to share even little pieces of your progress on the guitar, on singing. You can create a little cover video or reel on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. You can go to a local open mic if you have the opportunity. There's small ways you can participate, and you can be part of a community, a musical community, if that's what you enjoy. And I want to that's what I'm working on right now.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm just going to geek out 1 second. Sorry. I heard something the other day, and they were saying about, he was calling it the 99-1 rule or something, where 90% of people are consuming the music, 9% are creating, and 1% are creating and sharing. And I thought,
that's actually brilliant.
I thought that was really useful in terms of when you're doing your reaction. So there is a time where they're going to watch your reaction videos. They're going to watch their own watch, and then there's going to be a certain amount of curating and narrowing it down, isn't there? And but then maybe there is only going to be that 9% that go and make something, and then a very small amount of share. I mean, I like to focus on the sharing because that's new to me and I'm excited about that. But even just, like you say, even just doing it for the pleasure of doing it without it leading to anything else. You're already distinguishing yourself, aren't you, from the people that are simply consuming. But I still feel like it's on the same pathway. I don't see it as in there are people that consume and people that create. It's like, no, something is attracting you to this path. Oh, I'm geeking out again.
I don't know if you're much into sports, but
I don't look like a sporty type, do I? No, sorry.
But
yeah, no.
So what you're saying, I really, because I play like a weird hockey sport. It's called floorball. It's from Scandinavia.
Okay.
And I love sports. That's what I get from my grandparents mostly. And anyways, I again, like if you've ever played football or hockey and you watch it, with relating to what the players are feeling like on the pitch. And I think it's the same with music. If you just listen, it can be amazing. It can you can connect to the lyrics, whatever. But if you try it yourself, you understand something a bit deeper about it. So that's why I heard from what you were just saying, that like it can give you much deeper participation in that, and it's nice.
Yeah. So you're going to be encouraging this, and now when I said you're doing the community, you seem to. Is the community in the process of being set up? Is this what's happening? Because you seem to pull back a little bit.
Yeah, it's not ready yet.
It's not ready. Yeah.
So as I was mentioning to you before, I'm through like a course about business and things like that, how to put all the things together. So it's not ready yet. People can't join it yet. But it will be soon. It will be like second half of February. It's my plan currently to launch it. And then, as you said, I of course, not all people don't want to do something with music. Of course, not all people want to share it. I really like your 99-1 rule. It's beautiful. So as you said, even if you like just play a little bit, you're already in the 9%. Which is beautiful. And I think the sharing of it, as you said, it's also important because that creates the loop, right? It creates the motivation, creates the importance of creative outcome. It's actually I was just drafting out some of the what I'm going to put in those courses, and that's actually part of it, like the importance of having some kind of creative outlet, whether it's playing to your family at home. You don't have to put it out like on social media immediately or perform on stage, but so that's what I'm excited about.
Anyway, I've gone over time. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me and letting this become a conversation more than pressure on me to think of the right questions or anything. So I've really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll say our final goodbyes. But sorry, Faana Music. His channel is Faana Music. Is there any?
Music.
You've got all your links there, haven't you? So anything
Yeah, you
else
can
that you
just
want to
refer to
say?
my channel and people can
Yeah,
take it from
I
there.
saw that you had your website and everything else there. So go follow there. Is there anything else that you wanted to end on?
No, just thank you, Joanne, for having me. It was a lot of fun, and if you ever want to do like part 2, we can talk more about the mental stuff and
Yeah.
geek out even more.
Yeah, I say you could tell that it's these geek out conversations. It's I say, what do you know about this thing? Oh, feed me, tell me. Yeah, it's fun.
I enjoyed it. It's been
Thank
a lot
you
of fun.
anyway. Thank you. There you go. Da, da, da,